Hey YouTube, welcome back to New Rock City. I'm your host Stephen Moss, and each week I bring you a brand new band, interview them, and play some of their music for you. Tonight we have a band from Delran, New Jersey called the American Standard. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey,
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for having us, man.
No problem. The first thing I wanted to do is just have you introduce yourselves and say what you do in the band, please.
Sure. I'm Greg. I play guitars and I sing.
I'm Sean, and I play bass, and that's it.
I heard that the two of you have actually known each other since 7th grade. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, around that time. Yeah, 7th, 8th grade, maybe 6th.
Nice. At what point did you guys decide to start a band together?
So this is kind of what it's kind of hops off of what we were saying before we started recording. Probably for the first 10 years of me playing music, Fisher was like the only bass player I knew, like in general, especially like in our high school, like maybe like 10 kids played guitar or bass, and that were like like everybody was like, oh yeah, I have a guitar, but like I don't play it or anything like that. So when we became friends, we were kind of at very like similar like skill levels. We had like a huge similar taste in music and stuff like that. So whenever I had song ideas or projects for a band, like Fisher was just always like the person. I was like, well, who else am I going to ask? Obviously it's Fisher. Like,
Yeah, he had to use me out of necessity. There just was nobody else.
no one else owned a bass. Everybody just owned acoustic guitars. Fisher was the only bass player.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I guess we were always like jamming and playing in Greg's sunroom, learning Coheed songs and Green Day songs, and many years of that before the band actually started. I think the band started officially around like 2013, somewhere around there.
Yeah, around that time.
Now, your current drummer is AJ, but I was reading that a pretty funny story that he actually tried out for the band and got turned down. Is that true?
Kind of. Not really.
Okay.
So we were looking for a drummer. So I lived in Florida, or at the time I lived in North Carolina, and I was moving home, and I had these songs, like a handful of songs. Some of them have been released, like Wishing Well and things like that. And I was like, hey, I'm moving home. I want to start like a pop punk band. And I was just scrambled around for musicians. So obviously I called Fisher. And he was like, I'm not doing anything with my life. I'll play music. And then we had a fourth member, Sean Winter. And then I called my old drummer from like my old metal band in high school. And he was our drummer for a bit. And then it just wasn't where our styles weren't like he was playing like Tool beats over like
Gotcha.
Blink-182 riffs. And like they just, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And AJ was the only other drummer that I knew really, because the drummer who actually ended up being in the band, Jason Batchelor, he thought he was going to be too busy. I asked AJ, and then AJ was like, yeah, I mean, like, I guess, but like, what? Like, and then we ended up getting Batchy to do it. And then Batchy was our drummer for like, what, a year?
Yeah, probably two. Was it only a year? I thought it was maybe longer than that. It was a while before we played our first show. And I think that's like, our whole beginning as a band. We were a band for a while. We recorded our first EP, and I don't even know, perhaps it was like even after our second EP until we finally played a show. And I think if I remember correctly, Batchy left the band right before our first show. So
that's what I was going to bring out, because that same article said the day of your first show, your drummer quit. I was going to say, is that true?
Yeah. Basically, we were like a band for like a year or two, and we couldn't find any shows. We didn't know any bands. We finally get asked to do this show. It's like 2 weeks before the show. We get offered the show, and we're like, hey, we got a show. Cool. And like Batchy was just like, I don't really think I'm going to have time for this thing. Like he quit to be in a cover band. I was like, you're going to wait until we actually get a show to quit? And he's like, I have a gig that night. Like, I can't do it. And I'm like, this is terrible timing. So he leaves, and I just go, AJ, you recorded our first EP. We're only playing songs from it. Will you learn them and play our show? We just got a show. And he was like, yeah. And then the show, I don't even think it went well. I think we played so fast. We did 25 minutes worth of music in like 12.
Wow.
Yeah, that is what happened. We were just nervous, and even to this day, I think a lot of bands do that when they play live. They just, you play faster. I don't know why. you jump into it and your nerves are all there and everything. But yeah, we played so fast that when it was over, people were coming up to us afterwards being like, is that it?
Yeah, like I don't even think we got halfway through our like allotted set time. I think they gave us a half hour and we maybe did like 12 minutes.
Wow.
And then we were just like, well, now we're out of songs.
So what did you do?
We got off stage.
Off the
stage.
Yeah, we got off. Yeah. Like I kind of just shrugged at like
That's funny.
my parents in the corner. I was like, we don't have any more songs.
That's hilarious.
And like the next band was just like, we're not ready. Like we weren't supposed to go on for 25 minutes. I'm like, sorry guys.
Yeah, this band was doomed from the start.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. So what about the name? How did that come about?
Oh, that was Sean here.
Okay.
That was me.
Did you have ties to plumbing at all?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That is, where the band name came from. We were trying to think of a band, and I think we thought we had landed on something, and then we were like, no, that's corny. So I don't know why. Just one day I like showed up at rehearsal and told Greg, and I think Batchy at the time still was in the band, and I was just like, I think it would be really funny if we named the band the American Standard because it's such a great, double entendre. It's a toilet. This country is absolutely full of crap sometimes. So I think it works really well. Not that we're a political band at all. We're not. We're the furthest thing from it. But yeah, and it stuck for better or for worse because later, when we would make our Facebook and Instagram pages and whatnot, I would realize that there's like 500 bar bands out there named the American Standard. So
the first song I want to play from you guys is called Pool Hopper. What can you tell us about that song?
So I'm really bad at lyrics. So I read a lot of the music, and then lyrics and words come days, weeks, months later.
Gotcha.
Sometimes. So I remember I wrote this song in my parents in my sister's kitchen when I was house sitting for her. I remember that specifically. I remember I wrote it and the words, I just had placeholders and I was like, oh, eventually I'll change them and we'll put real words in. Never changed a word. That's the words in the song are
it's
just
all the placeholders. That's hilarious.
Random placeholders. So like it doesn't really make any sense. Our names don't ever have anything to do with any of the songs or probably a lot of like TV references or inside jokes. So Pool Hopper is actually Sean's brother.
Yeah, my brother is the Pool Hopper.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I think I don't know if you want to tell the story about why you call him that, but I think it was you and Ian.
Yeah, it was like years ago, I think when I was like 13 and he would have been 18 at the time or something. We went to the beach and I had brought my best friend Ian along. It was like a family vacation. He came with us. And I guess we had just like lost track of my brother for a while. And he just like kind of he's 18. We're at the boardwalk, he's not going to hang out with us. So that was normal. But eventually in the middle of the night, he like resurfaces and just announces that like he went pool hopping with like these random people, and I think like he had a pack of cigarettes on him and he like jumped in this pool and like got his pack of cigarettes all wet, and he wasn't even supposed to be smoking back then anyway. It was like such a bad kid thing to do. But yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason that story has just stuck around me and Greg's universe for years and years and years and years, and he just became the pool hopper.
But you made this like whole scenario of like someone searching for him as like a circuit marker, like just like walking around like resorts in like Atlantic City, being like pool hopper, like kind of
pool hopper. Are you there, pool hopper?
Yeah.
So we have your cigarettes.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, that might be the most you had to be there story of all time, but it has stuck in our brains for our entire lives.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like, we dedicated this song to him, so yeah.
I don't think he knows, but
oh.
I don't think your brother ever heard the joke, but it's about him.
Yeah, it's about, hey, Mike, if you're watching this, it's about you.
There you go. So here is Pool Hopper by the American Standard. welcome back to the show, everyone. That song is
Oh,
off
that
of
was
your
fast.
second EP called Part Due. What was making that EP like for you guys? Do you remember?
Yeah. So AJ, our drummer, he owns a studio outside of Philadelphia in Humeville, PA, and everything that we've done, all of our associated bands have done, have been through AJ in his studio. He's recorded, edited, mixed, mastered, like everything. So yeah, I mean, basically we did the first EP with a different drummer. That guy quits. AJ comes in. We write these new batches of songs, and AJ is the most talented musician. Like it just out of everybody I know, like kid can play drums, piano, guitar. Like he's a better guitar player than me. Like and like, and then he's got like this whole studio side where like he can create amazing sounding songs and records and things like that. So like when AJ came into the band, I had more, like I could do like these really weird off time things, or like the intro of Pool Hopper, like that he could do that like in a sleep kind of thing. So like we had the option of writing these cooler parts, and if I wanted to write a really weird off time guitar riff, like I knew that AJ would have no problem picking it up, and we'll just have to spoon feed Sean. Like eventually he'll get there with us. and yeah, like we just wrote these songs. We practiced them for probably like at least a year. We had these songs pretty much like memorized in our sleep, and we just went to the studio, and took us about a week. I think I did all the vocals in 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just went, and we're like, all right, well, like, let's see how far we can go. And I just did the entire thing in just like one sitting, like in the studio. And I think we didn't really have to touch much stuff up, but it was probably one of the most painless like recording processes like that I've ever had to go through. Like we had the songs down, we knew them front to back, we were super excited about them, we had a ton of ideas. AJ killed it, like Fisher came in and killed it, and
Damn right.
yeah, we knocked that out in 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah, we just mixed it, and I think we got CDs made, and like that was all we ever did for it. And then we just started playing shows off of them, and that was it.
I want to play another song from that EP, the song Wishing Well. What can you tell us about that video and that song?
That was the first song I ever wrote for the band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we have like a folder, and all the songs are just numbered. So like we reference a lot of our songs in like numbers until they either get a joke title or a real title. Wishing Well is just called like Gar1. Like that's
Wow.
it. Like,
Okay.
that's it. We wrote it. We wanted to I don't think we really started playing it until we started doing like the second EP. Like that wasn't something that we even thought about for the first EP. We saved it for the second EP. We're broke. AJ has a camera. That's the live room of the studio. We spent like, I don't know what, like 3 days. We just played that song maybe 20 separate times, and then somebody just filmed us, and then they edited it together, and like that was it. It was free.
Nice.
We didn't have any ideas, no money, so we were just like, well, we'll just do this. And you can tell by how red our faces are getting, how hot the room is, and what take we're on. Because
So yeah, a really funny way to tell what take it is how sweaty AJ is, because he gets so sweaty when he's just like, he'll be playing a nothing beat, just any normal drum beat, and after one song the dude is dripping.
Oh,
So
man.
if you just like take a look at his shirt, it'll be like time marker like 30 seconds he's drenched, time marker 35 seconds he's dry. Like it's so great.
All right, well, here's the video for Wishing Well by the American Standard.
Wishing well, it all makes sense. No one's thinking future tense. Everything's perfect.
welcome back to the show. Before we get to your newest album, I wanted to play the very first song from your very first EP. And you guys recently did a YouTube video where you played it like a live session. What can you tell us about the song I'm Gonna Get You, Tommy McNulty?
Oh, that was the third song I wrote for the band. That was one of the first songs I think that really put us on the path of like what we kind of sound like today. That was just one of those songs where it's like it's got a lot of like the influences kind of like on its sleeve of like the bands that like we really like enjoy and listen to, and what really like influenced us, and especially being the first song on the first EP, like we were really cool with that being the first thing that people are going to hear from us. Like we didn't release any singles. I think we just released the entire EP. So we were just like, well, they're going to hit play. This is what they're going to hear. And we're pretty happy
Gotcha.
about it. Yeah. The name's from Rugrats. Yeah. I got it from a Rugrats episode.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He was the bully who bullied Angelica. And she was like, I don't play that shit. Like one day I'm going to get you, Timmy McNulty.
That goddamn Timmy McNulty.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to get you back.
That's awesome. Very cool. So here is I'm Gonna Get You, Timmy McNulty.
I know that I told you we didn't start out right. You got us a phone calls, they didn't come on time, and now I think you're stuck here waiting, screaming someone, just someone save me, and I don't know just what this was for. Can't think of you or think of me. We'll raise a glass to tragedy. You'll lead me to the brink, I think. Alright, both capsize, just knowing that you'll drown. I'll pull you down while you're gasping for air. You'll scream for a savior, but it'll just be me. I won't make a sound. I know that I told you it's just a waste of time to try to explain what's wrong or right, and now I think you're stuck here waiting for the undertow to come and go and sweep you up, and now I know just what this was for. Can't think of you or think of me. You sold your soul to tragedy. You'll lead me to the brink, I think. Alright, both capsize, just knowing that you'll drown. I'll pull you down while you're gasping for air. You'll scream for a savior, but it'll just be me. I won't make a sound. Alright, both capsize, just knowing that you'll drown. I'll pull you down while you're gasping for air. You'll scream for a savior, but it'll just be me. I won't make a sound.
All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. When you guys think about the songs we just played from your first two EPs all the way to your latest album, Stations, what lessons did you learn in the early days that helped you with making your latest album?
Recording in a studio is better than recording in a dining room. That's what I learned.
Yeah. We recorded the first one in like my living room
Wow.
And it took me like 9 months to do the vocals because I didn't like how I sounded. So I would keep restarting because we just did it. I did it at home. Yeah. So if you can go to a studio and have someone there who's telling you that you're wasting your time and that the take you just did was fine, or the take you just did wasn't fine and you need to do it again, don't leave it up to yourself. I don't really know if we learned that much. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think. I mean, I think that we just kind of had like we went in with a vision with kind of what we wanted, and we wanted to sound good, and we knew when we went in to record what we were going to be using, what amps we were going to be using, what microphones we were going to be using on vocals. Like everyone went and got their instruments set up and we bought everything. So like when you go into the studio, within the first 45 minutes you're probably tracking and we're going to knock it out, and there was no reason for us not to knock it out.
So when you were doing stations, was it like there was no like different approach that you went to making this album, or was it kind of like the same mindset that you had with the first two EPs? What was that like?
I don't think that there was much of a mindset. I don't really know if there was a difference of a mindset in terms of like what AJ did, because he may have approached tracking and mixing like he probably approached that completely different. But like since
Gotcha.
we didn't do it, I can't really speak on it. But I didn't really. I wanted to when I went in. I wanted to give the songs a lot more room for experimentation. It's like, hey, this is cool. Well, instead of it being all pre-written, we went in with some not fully fleshed out ideas. There were lyrics that were written in the studio, and
Gotcha.
a long time after we were done, I think I needed to write a second verse in one song, and it took me like 6 months. It took me like months. To the point where I had to be like reminded, like, hey, you need to finish this one verse so we can finish the album.
Gotcha.
Like, like something like that. But
Do you do all the writing?
I do the majority of it. I mean, I
Gotcha.
like to think I write the outlines, and then, I mean, obviously with technology, I have a bass, I have Superior Drummer, I can program drums, I can do my own demo bass and things like that. I have a microphone, I can do
Mhm.
demo vocals, and I just like to hear the demos as a full thing. I don't want to hear 4 minutes of just a guitar and sending it to them and being like, "Hey, we have a new song." Like, no, you don't. You just have a collection of riffs right now. That's what we
Gotcha.
have. But then, yeah, I send it over to them, and they write their own parts, and that's when it becomes an American Standard song. Before
Gotcha.
them, it's just me recording riff ideas until they put their ideas and their bass lines and their drum lines and their suggestions of like, oh, would it be cool in the second verse instead of it being this way, we do it this way, and that's when they become American Standard songs.
Now, I noticed you released the album Stations right before lockdown. Did you get to tour on that album at all? Or do any
Yeah.
shows with it? None at all?
Our last show was in October, and I think we were planning on releasing the album, and then the lockdown happened, and we were like, well, we waited this long, like we might as well just release it and just get it out there as opposed to still sitting on it till like today. So we just released it, and we were hoping that it wasn't gonna be like 19 months of nothing. We were hoping that it would kind of come and go and we would just be able to get out there and do anything. But a lot of Zoom calls like this and phone calls and interviews and things like that, but no shows, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Now, what about looking forward? Because now, things are opening up, venues are opening up. Is the goal tour off that album, or what's the thinking behind that?
Yeah, well, the problem is that for one, I mean, like we were talking about, we released it like right in the midst of everything going on. It was released at the end of May, so we already knew that everything was pretty bad. But at that time, it kind of looked like over the summer things were going to be pretty good. Like I was getting married last fall, and
congrats.
thank you, I appreciate that. And by July, we actually like sent out our invitations because we thought that we were going to be able to do it. We were, supposed to get married. Well, we did get married in September, but we were supposed to have like the, reception and everybody there and whatnot. Greggy up there with me, right next to me, my boy. But
I would have been there, I swear.
But yeah, so at that time, like we really did struggle with that. We were like, should we release it now? Should we wait? And I think a lot of bands were in that same boat. We knew that it would be a while before we could play a show off of it, but we did not realize it would be this long.
Yeah.
So, I'll never know if that was like the right decision or not. But, with all the attention that we did get, I really do feel good about it. Like Greg said, we got a lot of interviews, we get to talk to cool people like you. You know, people have been reaching out and been so supportive of the music. But then fast forward to where we are today. Greg and AJ are in this awesome metal band called Hath. They are recording their album next month. So the American Standard probably will resume kicking off shows. I would assume probably towards the end of the summer once everybody is available and ready to go. So we're definitely excited for it. I would hope, and you know, we'll have to have, you know, our sidebar band conversations about it. But I hope that you know, not only will we be able to play songs off of this album, but hopefully we'll be able to bring some new ideas to the table by then too.
Yeah, I feel like the pandemic has like changed a lot more. It has changed way more than like I personally thought. With everything being locked down, I mean, you couldn't get together for rehearsal, you couldn't go play shows, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, and it was really weird for me to, because like it seems like that whole portion just kind of hit pause, and like now like I've had just like a year of like not getting in the same room and practicing and running ideas, and it's like I know a lot of people who have barely picked up their instruments this entire time because it's just like, well, they don't want to, they don't feel as creative because they're just stuck indoors all day. And I'm personally hoping that like when things get lifted up and everybody gets those shots, I'm getting a second shot on Monday, and then and then we're and like hopefully once like everybody starts doing things like that, it gets warmer, things get kind of lifted, and like we can get back in the same room and remind ourselves what it's like to play fucking music. Like it's like almost like a thing of the past for some people, like the way they think about like being in a band. And then some people are just like, well, I locked myself in a room and I've written 1,000 songs. And then there's like other people, it's like I've barely written a riff.
That's been interesting doing this show over the course of the pandemic, just to see how people react differently to it. Because yeah, like you said, some people were like, you know what, I had nothing else to do, so I just wrote a bunch of music. So, and then there were other people that were like, I felt very uninspired, and because I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't do anything. So yeah, it hit everybody different.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to play my favorite song from your album. That's What the Money Is For. What can you tell us about that song?
It's a banger.
Yeah.
I love that one.
I stole the name from Mad Men, one of the greatest shows of all time. And
respect.
Yeah, and the album was actually done. We had enough songs for the album, and then right before we started, I think we were doing like rehearsals to get ready for recording. We had all the songs done. We were like, these are the songs that are going to make the record. And then we wrote this one, and we kind of all just looked at each other and we were like, this one, we could make room for this one too. And yeah, like we added it into like the list of songs, and it became like pretty quick, like I know a personal favorite for the guys in the band, and like a lot of people mention that song. They're just like, damn, like that, especially like they're like that riff, like, and I'm like, yeah, man,
to me that stands out the most out of the whole album. Like, was this song?
Awesome, thank you, I appreciate it. I think we wrote it in this room I'm sitting in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we did the demo just sitting in this room because like I had the riff, and then we just started playing it, and we just sat here at this computer and just demoed it out. That was the first thing I think we've ever done, that was this song, and it just came incredibly easy and naturally, and the song kind of just came together in like one night, and we were like, yeah, let's put it on the album and let it be the first thing that kind of punches you in the face after me crooning.
Oh, very cool. So here is the song That's What the Money's For by the American Standard. All right, and welcome back to the show. What else can your fans expect for you coming up in the future?
I mean, that's a tough question. We definitely want to do more. We have some ideas, some hopefully relatively soon we can get a few of these ideas together. Hopefully we have a few songs that didn't make the album that we want to release in the upcoming next few months. And then we have some ideas, possibly like an EP, or maybe start writing for a second album, depending on how life works. You know what I mean? I mean, if we can
Gotcha.
start writing the songs, I mean, we could release something in a year. If we don't got the songs, we can't release nothing. You know what I mean?
Any like videos or like music videos or like another live session video, anything like that in the works?
Well, things that we're in talks of a few things. I mean, there's nothing really set in stone. There's ideas, there's emails, there's phone calls, kind of thing. Hopefully, we can get the ball rolling on something like that. The live sessions are a little bit harder. It's hard to get everybody kind of in the same room, and there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes into something like what we did for that little live studio session. That everybody's schedule doesn't always seem to match up. So we definitely want to do a lot more things like that. We thought it came out great, and a lot of people really liked it, and it was super fun for us to do. It just, yeah, I mean, we just gotta figure it out and make it work, and hopefully we do some more cool stuff in the future, and try to stay in people's thoughts, and you know what I mean, like and kind of in the limelight, and people don't forget about us, and then we're 45 and we're like, hey, you guys want to hear songs about you?
Yeah, you guys want to hear our second album now? It's 2045. Here we are.
Right.
Yeah, I would say
he wrote more songs.
I would say probably by the end of the summer, people can expect to hear more from us. Like Greg said, like we're pretty constantly communicating with somebody about something, whether it's just the three of us talking about. We had talked about releasing an EP relatively soon. Of course, like I said, you know, there's going to be studio time for those guys coming up next month. So we'll probably talk about that closer to July, August. We have talked about a video, and you know we're still pursuing that. So I would say once we are able to get together a little bit more often, which I think will be around August, people can start looking out for more from us. But if I could say one thing, just be patient with us on social media. None of the three of us are good at it. I cannot stand it. I can't stand going on to Instagram and pandering when I don't have anything to say. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just not our bag. And, you know, just check in with us. We will post when we have updates. But I can't just like go on there and post about nothing. It's not in my soul.
Very cool.
It's real hard. It's real hard. It's definitely a skill set.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, we're in our 30s. We can't figure out how to, you know, post on Instagram and make you pay attention. Just bear with us.
But look out for the American Standard TikTok. It's coming.
Yeah. Oh my God, we have such good dances on TikTok. Yeah. Look us up.
The last part of the show, I like to just give the floor to you guys and say, what would you like to say to your fans?
Well, Mom, thanks for listening. Thanks for letting us practice in your basement for 4 years before before we ever went out in public. Yeah, I mean, if we had to say anything, like, I never thought that anybody would even give a shit about any of the music. Like, we started the band just because we wanted something to do. We wanted to write songs that we were going to have fun with, and we wanted to write songs that like our friends would like. And like, we're going to go play this bar in Philly, and all of our friends show up, and we have drinks, and we have fun, and we sing along, and we dance, and it would just be a reason for us to get together. And we were like, hey, and if people outside of our friend group dig it and like it, then that's more than I personally ever thought that would happen. So the fact that people do listen and reach out and like it is incredible. So like, thank you for anybody who does listen or check it out or comments or buys t-shirts or records or anything like that. But yeah, like Fisher said, please be patient. We're not good at it. When we have something to tell you, you'll see it. We'll make a post about it. But until then, we're still around, you know. But yeah, hopefully we can get the ball rolling and have things to talk about, things to promote, things to release, and yeah, and hopefully the world opens back up and we can play some more shows. I don't think I've ever thought that I would miss sitting in a corner of a dingy Philly bar with my arms crossed more than I do, but I do. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Sean,
Yeah,
what about
no,
you?
I would just piggyback off of what Greg said. I'm so blown away by the support that people gave us this past year. It was such a hard year, obviously, in so many different ways, and for people to continue to look for new music and to share new music, for all the interviews and attention that the album did get in a time where we could not hardly do anything to support the album. I'm still really taken aback by that. So just thank you to everybody who has listened to it, who will come out to the shows and who has come out to the shows in the past. And yeah, if you like it, the only thing I ask is that you show two friends and try to supervise that they too show two friends. And yeah, just keep the train going.
Just one more thing, yeah, like if you're actually like in the area, like there's a lot of awesome bands, um house shows, like people who are still writing great music. Like we have like friend like Driving Underwater, Afloat, Carly Cosgrove, this band just started, the Menzingers, like all these like little tiny bands.
Our close friends, the
Our close
Menzingers.
friends, yeah, they're close friends, Menzingers, and yeah, like when things do open up, like when shows happen, if everything is going the way it should, like go out, see people play music, like you know what I mean, like just kind of support these little things that are still around, because a lot of venues, a lot of places aren't around anymore because of the pandemic. A lot of venues, especially in like the Philly area, some of them that were a big place for shows aren't here anymore. So when everything picks back up, like go see bands, go buy shirts, go do anything.
Yeah, support your local artists for
Yeah,
sure.
that now that we have it again, we didn't know that we were going to be missing it so bad. So when it comes back, like
Exactly.
don't be like, oh, I was tired, so I didn't go to go to a show.
Yeah, go to the show. Pay for parking. Come on.
Very cool. So for those watching at home, I'll have a link below in the description where you can follow the band on social media. Please like and subscribe, and tune in next week for a new band. And Sean and Greg, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me, man.
Appreciate it, man.